Hey, homie, where you from? Does that even matter once you hit prison? Let's talk about it. What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. So, I was thinking about this question. You know, a lot of times I get asked about residents. What happens to residents when they hit the California prison system? For those that don't know, a resident, at least for Southern California, a resident is somebody who grows up in an area, is criming it or whatever, but they're not from a gang. They're not from a barrio. But they're still, you know, caught up in criminality. They come to prison. They're not from a barrio, but they're from Southern California and they're Mexican. That is termed a resident, right? But the interesting thing for me, and what I want you guys to understand is this. When you are on the streets and you are from a gang, you are willing to die for your gang. You are willing to kill for your gang. A lot of instances, guys are in prison for killing for their neighborhoods, for their barrio. And then guess what? You hit the prison yard, you hit the California Department of Corrections, and your neighborhood, your barrio means nada, means nothing. There's probably going to be an opportunity or there's probably going to be a scenario where the guy that you killed, you're going to sell up. You're going to be sellies with his homeboy. Yeah. See, when you enter the California Department of Corrections and you're a raza from Southern California, you have entered an entirely different world. Your barrio basically just designates who you're going to run with behind the walls, but what barrio you're from, what barrio you claim, what barrio you killed for and were willing to die for, that means nothing. They have no territory whatsoever behind a prison wall. See, the big four, those are their neighborhoods. And the territory belongs to them. And you are now a resident in your new world. So the thing that you were willing to die and kill for, you don't even represent. To an extent you do. The work that you do is a representation of where you're from. I'll say that. I will give you that. But in the eyes of everyone else, that's just a homie. Hey, you're just a homie. You're in somebody else's world. You know, I trip out on, you know, I when I see all these YouTubers and they talk about factions and they, you know, that they don't know anything about, they didn't run with. Like, see me, like I could tell you right now, I don't know anything about how the blacks are when they come into prison. I think the Northerners are similar to the Southerners as far as once you get in there, your neighborhood doesn't really mean anything. I think the blacks kind of play the gangbanging stuff, at least from what I noticed. And when you had to discuss business with the black factions in prison, especially with the Crips, you had to go to a lot of different factions because, you know, this crew doesn't want to hear nothing or interact with that crew. And, you know, so it seems as though the neighborhood stuff still matters in prison when it comes to the black factions. But when it comes to Southern California raza, if you think you're going to go in there and gangbang, if you think you're going to go in there and show favoritism because that's my homeboy from my neighborhood, that is a quick way to get hit. And you will get hit so it reminds everyone else on the yard, all the other Southerners on the yard, your water don't mean nothing around here, Holmes. I told a story a long time ago, and I'll just touch on it right here. There was a guy, when I hit New Folsom, when I hit my very first yard, we landed together. He came from another prison, right? I came from Wasco Reception Center. And we were out on the yard, and where we were sitting, there was a little patch of dirt right there, right next to the handball court. And one of the dudes I was sitting with reaches down and I don't know if he had a rock or a little stick or something, and he wrote his neighborhood in the dirt, right? And me and a couple of the other homies, like, we knew already. I mean, we're young. We looked over and I was like, hey, what are you doing, fool? Like, there's a lot of different barrios here. And he's like, I'm just hitting up my barrio. What's wrong with that? And we're like, all right. And our older homie came from Culver City. He was talking to us and he looked down and he goes, hey, what the fuck is this? And the dude who wrote it, he goes, oh, that's my barrio. And with his foot, he smudged it out, like crossed it out. And he says, you got a problem with that, Holmes? And he's like, oh, no, this and that. And he goes, you want a gangbang? He goes, we can both get a fucking knife and go to the bottom of the yard and we can gangbang right now. He goes, that's how we gangbang around here. And the dude was like, oh, no, well, this and that. And then that's when he told him, like, hey, Holmes, there's a lot of different barrios here, eh? And that shit don't mean nothing in here. And that's what I'm trying to get at with this video. Those of you willing to kill for your neighborhood, you do what you got to do. If you're that dedicated, I can't persuade you any other way. But I will tell you this. That neighborhood you're killing for, that neighborhood you're willing to die for, again, once you hit them prison walls, doesn't matter. That killing that you didn't get you a block on the yard. It didn't get you a piece of the yard to say, hey, this is for my barrio. No. And like I said, you're probably going to wind up getting in a cell together with somebody from the neighborhood that you killed somebody. And you know why? Because you might not have a homeboy from your neighborhood there. But you know what? The next best thing is your enemigo. You know why? Because when you want to reminisce and you're thinking about home and you want to tell stories about home, see, you could be in a cell with me and you could say, man, Holmes, I remember, hey, you remember that restaurant? Oh, yeah, you don't know. You're from Santa Barbara. Yeah, I don't know, homie. I'm Spencer. I could tell you about a restaurant in my neighborhood, though. But when you live with your enemigo, you say, hey, Holmes, hey, remember when, hey, fool, we used to go over here? Yeah, Holmes, I remember you about to used to kind of go there kind of deep, huh? And then there's a story. There's an understanding of the background, and it's kind of like, it takes away some of that homesickness, And you're having a conversation with your rival, your worst enemy, a neighborhood that you might have taken somebody's life. And that dude can become your dog. Why? Because you're from the same area. You know the same schools, the same streets. Isn't that a trip? You would have wanted to kill that guy on the streets, and he would have wanted to kill you. I've had conversations with dudes like that. I remember having a conversation with Catfish from the East Side. Shout out to Catfish from the East Side. And we got along very well in New Folsom. And every time I would get out, he had just gotten busted. Or he would get out, I had just gotten busted. And Catfish from the East Side was pretty well known and had put in some work on my neighborhood. And he was like the main target for us. And we had that conversation where like, hey, Holmes, I'm glad we didn't run into each other out there, because it would have been all bad for one of us. That is the kind of conversation you will have if you want to run around and you want to bang the neighborhood. And yeah, Holmes, my barrio's first, homie. Your barrio's dead last when you get in there. It means nothing. You have now elevated into a world where that doesn't matter, but they're playing for keeps. And there ain't none of this. Dudes go out drinking and then, pull out, want to get into the gunplay. That's so easy, man. It really is. You get behind those walls and you got to start using this. You got to start developing this. You got to start learning how to read people like that. You got to learn how to make a weapon. Hopefully you get a celly that knows how to teach you the right way and teach you how to make good weaponry. Then you're going to have an opportunity sooner or later to represent your neighborhood and show, hey, this is how we get down in my neighborhood. And you're going to have to stab another homie. Somebody that you probably broken bread with. Somebody that you played handball with or basketball with. And you're going to have to pull your knife out and plunge it into this dude over and over and over while the central gunner is watching, maybe shooting at you, while the other tower that you're probably in front of doing the hit, the yard gunner, while he might be aiming down on you. That would be your new reality. Pushing that neighborhood stuff, that's what's in store for you. Maybe you don't get shot. Now you go and you shit in a hole for a while, catch another life sentence, or maybe the death penalty. Who knows? It's up to the DA. Do they pick your case up or not? Then it's up to the jury, the judge. But that's what you do. And in the whole thing, they're not going to say, hey, homie, them vatos from so-and-so barrio get busy. No. I've said this over and over. This is exactly what will happen. Damn, man. Homie got down, huh? Yeah, he did. Homie said, what's for dinner? I don't know. I was thinking about fucking just making something in the pad. I probably will too. That's the extent of the impression you make in there. Because you know why? You're just one of thousands and thousands and thousands that does a pegada. Now, don't get me wrong. If you do a bad pegada, oh, you might hear the laughter while you're working. You might hear the laughter when you're getting escorted off the yard. Homies might be like, hey, Holmes, what the fuck happened there? That's how prison is. See, that's another thing where me being an ex-convict, me having done so much time in prison, we clown each other constantly. We roast each other. And I can clown and I can roast in a video, and these hardcore killers out here get all feathers all ruffled up. They can't handle it. Boy, they better not hit a motherfucking prison yard and get roasted in there, get their little feelings hurt, and then get whacked because they got feelings over nothing. Anyways, man, that's my story. That's my video for today. If you want to fucking represent your neighborhood, my advice, if you really want to represent your neighborhood well, your barrio well, your hood, your gang, you want to really represent it well, go to school. Go to school. Learn something. Become something in life. And then let the little homies have an option now. Damn, I could just kick it in the neighborhood. I could get high and go fuck around. And I could go do life like the homie Tweety. Or I can go to school, homes, and I could own a store just like the homie Boxer. Which one you want to do? You want to own a store and make an impact on your community and show the other youngsters, the other homies, like, hey, fool, we could own this motherfucking block finally, rather than sell out for it. That's my video for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them, man. I'm out of here.